instructions live. Exercise equipment, what will work best for you. Plus a rundown of screenings, tests, and classes you can take at area hospitals. It's Healthy Living Live. Information to make your life better.
Coming up on Michigan Replay, we'll look at the first step of climbing the mountain, a big win over Colorado. We'll also meet Michigan's new man in charge, Athletic Director Tom Goss. And we'll look ahead to Game 2 and scout the Baylor Bears. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you by the company you count on wherever life takes you. General Motors, people in motion. By your GM Goodwrench Service Plus dealers. For one near you, call 1-800-96-GM-Plus. By Chevrolet Truck, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Metrocell, giving you the power to communicate with cellular, paging, satellite TV, and internet services from BigNet. Starting at $9.95 a month, call 1-800-LEADER-1. And by the M-Den, a Michigan family tradition. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. I'm Jim Brandstetter. 27-3 the final. Michigan over Colorado. You're in a pretty good mood today, aren't you?
Yeah, that was a good way to start the season, Jim, that's for sure.
A great way to start the season in a game that was nationally televised, in a game against a team that everybody thought had designs in the national championship. And defensively, what a game plan Jim Herman and his staff put together. That was a great performance.
Yeah, they did a great job. And our special teams were, I thought, very good.
Do you think you surprised little people just laying in the weeds, being quiet all this time while everybody's out there playing, and then you show up with a pretty good effort in your first time out of the box?
Well, Jim, I think the preseason hype always is a disadvantage to those teams that are ranked very, very high, because the truth is, it doesn't mean anything. You got to earn it on the field.
That's exactly right. And you did a great job Saturday against the Colorado Buffaloes. Let's take a look at the highlights of the first half. Outstanding work again by the defense. They just kept after the quarterback, and then Charles Woodson makes your first pick of 4 turnovers on the day.
Yeah, it gave us great field position, Jim, and I think defensively we played with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of spirit. We had a lot of guys around the ball all day long.
How about this pass wide open to Jeremy Tooman? This is the first of 4 times this pass was this open.
Jim, on first down, Mike DeBoard made that call, and we had 2 guys open, and he hit Jeremy. And, of course, that set up our first touchdown. The first touchdown that Chris Floyd scored at Michigan, and it got us off to a great start.
9:30 left in the first quarter. You're up 7-0, and again, the defense continues to be big.
Well, that's one of the few tackles we missed here. This Chris Anderson's a big receiver. Colorado had big receivers.
But you blitz them, and here Marcus Ray, you had a blitz package that was outstanding.
I asked Jim on Wednesday, I said, now we're going to get after this quarterback. He said, we're going to come after him from every angle we can, and that's exactly what we did.
Here you go. They try to run the option. You're right there to stop them.
Normally that's a good play, Jim, against past defenses. But for the most part, we did a great job against it.
Good decision here by Brian Greasy going to Ty Streets for a good first down play.
Brian made a lot of good decisions today, and we caught the ball relatively well.
And this is one of your better runs up the middle. Got a first down out of it.
Jim, we did not run as effectively as we wanted to, but I'm sure we're going to get better as the season goes on.
This one you'd rather not see.
Now, Ty should have caught that ball. Ty Streets, that's a catch that he's going to make from here on out.
Then they get going a little bit on the passing game. They start to hit you over the middle. This, I think, is one of maybe their first down.
Jim, I think that illustrates the kind of hitting we had in that game. Marcus Ray made a big hit, and eventually balls start to come loose. And, we knocked Hessler down a number of times. I think eventually that had an impact, particularly in the second half.
And here's another interception, a great call by the defensive coaches.
Well, he brought some guys off the split inside, and the quarterback was forced to throw the football, and Tommy Hendricks was in the right place at the right time.
Your offense continues to struggle, but, boy, you're blitzing in there, and Copenhaver makes a play.
We had a lot of guys around the ball.
Now, this one gets out of there on you. You get a 17-yard completion.
Woodson hit the quarterback unblocked off the corner, and Hessler made a great play there, Jim.
Now this is big, 8:49 left. A third down play. He's got an open receiver, but again, forced out of the pocket, throws an incompletion. You still can't move it, but you get it back here with 1:34 left. They've got an opportunity to do something with it. You make great defensive play again, and you get the ball back with very little time left. This is a critical spot during the game.
Jim, Ian Gold partially blocked the punt. Woodson got a decent return, and then our offensive line gave Brian time to throw, and we hit Woodson down in tight. We had just enough time to spike the ball, and Craig Baker got us on the board.
And that is a 10-0 lead at halftime, and that was a big play going into the locker room, wasn't it? A little bit of momentum shift to take you into the locker room up more than one score.
Jim, our defense carried us in the first half. They were on the field too much. I was a little bit concerned because we had too many defensive plays. And, you know, offensively, that first half, we had penalty after penalty. It did not enable us to sustain anything offensively.
We'll be back. We'll take a look at the second half where Michigan puts it away. Before we come back, though, we're going to hear from John Jansen talking about how you start big during this season.
It's a great start to a season. Come out and play like that. You know, they had a lot of advantages on us, having a game, having you know, extra practice, and to come out and play like we did. You know, we had our mistakes, but we were able to play over them, and it's just a great start for our season.
We drive family sedans, 4x4s, and small city cars. We carry groceries, we carry lumber, we carry life. And we all want to feel safe doing it. Making a lot of different cars and trucks makes us, well, the car company. Making them all deliver the things that matter most makes us GM. The company you count on wherever life takes you. General Motors, people in motion.
The coming of age of the adolescent grizzly bear. A strange rite of passage where they cry out for their most primal, urgent need.
Heaven help us if they ever learn the Macarena.
Pepsi, Generation Next.
My crew's acting a little tense. Thought I'd loosen them up a bit. Hey, guys, is your work guaranteed? Lifetime guarantee? What do you think this is, Dale? That new GM Goodrich Service Plus? Smart guy. Select GM dealers now give you a lifetime guarantee on parts and labor, plus upfront pricing, plus courtesy transportation. New GM Goodrich Service Plus, like they say. The plus means better!
Call for the Select GM dealer near you.
From Heston to Harmon to Howard, over a century of Michigan football lives again with Hail to the Victors, a unique book and video combination that highlights the greatest moments in Michigan football history. The 214-page book is introduced by Bo Schembechler. The 50-minute video is hosted by Bo and narrated by Jim Brandstatter. To order your copy of Hail to the Victors, the greatest moments in Michigan football history, call 1-800-3-GO-BLUE. That's 1-800-3-GO-BLUE.
I was pumped up today. The defense knew we had to go out here and give our offense the ball back and give them a chance to do it. And, you know, we went out there and we gave the ball to them and they scored. And I think we had a lot of, gotta give the defense and the offense a lot of credit for hustling out there today.
Glenn Steele, obviously a great game, as is the rest of the defense. Michigan leading 10-0 at halftime. What was your main focus talking to the team going out in the second half? Because game's not over by any means.
Jim, we talked about having a great kickoff return, and that's exactly what we got, but it was nullified by a penalty. And but then we made a big play here, the same pass that we had hit earlier. Brian came back and he hits Tooman again, gets us great field position, and now we put together our best drive of the day.
And mostly through the air.
Yes, we did. We threw the ball effectively on first down. Russell Shaw made a good catch and got some extra yards there after the catch.
Nice little pass here on a slant route. And I thought here Ty Streets did a nice job setting it up and then splitting the coverage.
Yeah, that's a ball that Brian has thrown effectively throughout his career. Here he makes a nice throw on third down again. And if he doesn't throw that ball right on the money, Chris is not going to be able to get into the end zone.
Now that gets you the 17-0 lead. Come right back, interception, Copenhagen this time.
Copenhagen played tailback at Brighton High School, Jim.
Well, he's a linebacker at Michigan, and he looks like it. Now he'll kill me.
He's a good one, too.
I know, but
and you better be nice.
He'll kill me for that one.
His mother will not like that.
And you get the touchdown. Let's put it this way. Copenhagen sets up the touchdown. Way to go, Clint.
Yes, he did. And Brian did a nice job scrambling around there finding Russell Shaw.
And here you let your quarterback out. First time he's really scrambled and made something on you.
Yeah, Jim, and that's something you don't like to see. And then we add to the problem by hitting Tommy a little bit over-anxious there and hit Hessler out of bounds and gave him great field position.
Now, this is just a four-man rush. This is not a blitz.
Joaquin Frizzell played probably his best game, and James Hall and Glenn Steele. Those guys up front had great pressure, and that enabled us to pick off some balls in the second half.
Now, that, I thought, forced them out of field goal range. I was wrong.
52 yards.
52 yards by Mitchell. And it's 24-3 at this point. You get the ball back.
They finally contained him here on the same pass, but Brian made a real nice play, and I got the ball again to Jeremy. He had 5 catches.
Now, you don't move the ball, but here's a pooch punt that works pretty well.
Jim, you thought we were going for it on fourth down.
You
there, didn't you? I know you did.
I did not think you were going for it. Greasy's a pooch punter. I know that.
You know, I always tell Brian, you got to be a lousy punter to be a pooch punter. But he did a great job there.
And the defense continued to play. And I'll tell you what, Marcus Ray,
and Ian Gold,
he might get arrested someday for hitting people like that.
He had some big hits today, as did some other people, and that's what you like to see.
But again, you know, going back, is this your longest run of the day? But going back to that pays dividends later in games, doesn't it?
There isn't any doubt about it. Jim, we obviously didn't run the football as well as we would like to. We've got to do a better job. We've got a long way to go.
Dhani Jones here makes another interception and returns it. Great defensive effort. You've got speed at linebacker and in the secondary back.
Well, this kid, Dhani Jones, is a very active football player, and he hit some big plays for us today.
Good decision here on this play by Brian Greasy. Everybody covered, and he just stayed with it and got a first down on the ground.
Jim, Brian was 21 out of 28 and made some real good decisions.
You get the field goal to make the final 27-3. A victory, a safe victory, a good solid game, 1-0.
Well, Jim, for an opener against a quality opponent, you know, we have a lot to be happy about, but certainly we have a lot to work on.
Yeah, one of the things you talked to me about after the game is you said, hey, this is a game where, yeah, we're delighted to win, but, you know, it gives us as coaches the opportunity to really focus in on some things that we do need to work on. What are those things?
Well, Jim, we've got to stop in ourselves, first of all. We had too many penalties today. We had a number of holding penalties. And jumped off sides, and you know, some things that are correctable, but certainly that kept us from being more effective, particularly offensively, and we did not run the ball. We've got to block up front better, and we've got to get some movement up front.
You got a week to work on it, and Baylor comes into town next week. When we come back, we will meet Michigan's new athletic director, Tom Goss, a guy that 27 years ago slapped me around a little bit when I was playing football at Michigan. Before we talk to Tom Goss, we're going to hear about what Saturday's victory was about Michigan defense.
I think our defense played well as a whole. Everybody played their role. You know, I mean, I did my part, but so did everyone else. That's why it's such a sweet victory, because this is Michigan defense.
Michigan is tradition, and the M-Den is Michigan. Wear that tradition with pride. Display it proudly in office or home. Show the world that you belong to the maize and blue. Remember, if it's Michigan, you'll find it at the M-Den. 5 convenient locations, including the M-Den on the 50, just inside Gate 2 at Michigan Stadium, as well as Briarwood Mall and Laurel Park Place, Livonia. Be sure to look for your copy of the Michigan Athletic Department's clothing and gift catalog. Hail to the victors, to arrive at your home shortly.
When families in Michigan need someone they can count on, the Love Light Foundation and Northwest Airlines are there for them.
Northwest Airlines joins Joe Dumars and the Love Light Foundation in supporting community programs.
Join me and the 47,000 people of Northwest Call the Love Light Foundation.
Because when we help each other, we make Detroit an even better place for everyone.
And be someone our kids can count on.
For the inside story on Michigan football and basketball, it's the Wolverines. 25 issues a year, just $44.95. Order now and get your football preview issue, plus the Wolverine Handbook. Call 1-800-421-7751. That's 1-800-421-7751.
It doesn't get any better than this. Relive this season of magic with Our Day Has Come, the historic home video that puts you ringside as the Wolverines skate to the top of the college hockey world. See the players, the fabulous goals, the spectacular saves. It's all here for all time. To order, call 1-800-3-GO-BLUE. That's 1-800-3-GO-BLUE.
It's that terrifying high-tech fiend, the Internet.
Come on, man, chill.
It's Web Boys.
Okay, if the Internet has you stressed, right? But see, you don't have to be, because you have me and BigNet.
BigNet, the lightning-fast way to the Internet with local phone number access. And so easy, an adult can use it for just $9.95 a month.
BigNet, cool? All right, I'm out of here. Okay, whatever.
BigNet Internet Access, 1-800-LEADER-1.
New athletic director, somebody, as you can tell, I admire tremendously. Look forward to working with Tom Goss.
Michigan introduced new athletic director Tom Goss to the media and the public this week. Goss replaces Joe Roberson, and he comes to Ann Arbor steeped in Michigan tradition. A 1968 graduate, Goss was an All-Big Ten defensive lineman for the Maize and Blue. He takes over a department that has been battered recently in the press for alleged problems in some areas. He knows about it and will address it.
We have some issues out there, at least some alleged issues, and we'll know if they're true or not very soon. One of the things I think I will need to do is quickly address those issues. It will be, you know, a top priority on my list of things to do. And in the process, I hope I can do what Don Cannon mentioned to me, is have some fun. I wanted to come back and pick on you a little bit.
Goss picked on me plenty when I was a freshman trying to block him in practice. But as athletic director, I can guarantee you, he'll be honest and straightforward. He'll be tough, results-oriented, and have the student-athlete's best interest as his #1 priority.
My goal and role will be to support my coaches. You know, one of the first questions I'm going to have is, how can I help? How can I help? Because I want them not only to win on the field or on the floor, I want them to win in the classroom. Hear what I'm saying? I want them to win in the classroom as well. I think a coach has an accountability that when he brings a 17 or 18-year-old young woman or young man to this campus, well, you're the parent now. You have a responsibility. Now, that responsibility is twofold. It's also making sure that person go right through this university and meet their objectives, and let's get a degree and go on and to be, you know, famous in life.
Goss also seems to be one of the few voices in the Big Ten who will stand up against the majority and fight to keep Michigan values in the mainstream. A national championship football playoff and letting the Rose Bowl into a national championship coalition is sending a very wrong signal about collegiate athletics, according to Goss.
It's kind of difficult for me to understand how you're really going to have excellence and you move away from the bowl environment. We had the best thing going in the world, and we let someone talk us out of it, and that's called the Rose Bowl. And that's one time a year. You go into playoffs, you're looking at moving on into February. These kids, and you've been there, and I was there, and you know how tough it is to make sure you also are moving along getting your degree. You know, where does it end?
Tom Goss, Michigan's new athletic director, and I know as a head football coach who is in charge of one of the programs, one of the biggest revenue producers, you like to see Tom Goss talking the way he's talking, don't you?
Well, Jim, I think he comes from a great background out in terms of business, but he also knows what it's like to be a student athlete at Michigan. And I think, you know, that's a wonderful thing to have as a guy leading the department, because he sees all the perspectives.
When you hear a guy say, my first question to coach is, how can I help? It's got to say, man, hey, we got a guy finally in there. It's going to be a helper, huh?
Well, that's exciting to hear, I can tell you that. He's going to do a great job.
As you go on down the line, you talk about the issues, the Rose Bowl, you know, the freshman eligibility, all kinds of things. Do you think Tom Goss is going to have the convincing ability at Big Ten meetings to try to bring the Big Ten back around to some of those Michigan values that he and President Bollinger talked about?
Well, Jim, I don't know, but I do know that I think the voice needs to be heard, because you know, we've given up a lot of great tradition, and hopefully at some point we'll get back to what's important. But that trend has certainly gone the other way.
From a perspective of a football coach, again, having a former football player in as the main guy in the athletic department and full power, according to Lee Bollinger, again, that's got to make you feel comfortable with knowing that you got an athletic director who's in charge.
Well, I think everybody in our athletic department is excited, because Tom mentioned that, you know, he'd like to retire. He and Lee Bollinger together someday, a long time down the road. And I think anytime you have a long-term commitment, it has to be a positive thing.
When we come back, as we get done talking about Tom Goss, we'll talk about the Baylor Bears. They're next on the Wolverine schedule. Stay with us. That's next on Michigan Replay.
Each and every time we go out on this field, every Saturday, we have to play each game like we're playing at Colorado or Notre Dame or Ohio State. In order to make this run, we got to get up each and every week to do what we got to do. We got to sustain the enthusiasm that we had today, and we got to sustain it for 12 weeks.
Fielding H. Yost, Fritz Chrysler, Bo Schembechler. Now, for the first time, their lives and coaching careers come alive in a new book, A Legacy of Champions, the story of the men who built University of Michigan football. This 220-page coffee table-style book includes more than 180 rare photos and is the most definitive work to date on these three legendary Michigan coaches. To order A Legacy of Champions, call 1-800-3-GO-BLUE. That's 1-800-3-GO-BLUE.
Chevy Blazer with the exclusive driver control system. A little security in an insecure world.
$9 p.m. Joe is at the movies, and Joe is pumped because Joe has been to Imperial Sports, and so Joe looks fly.
Hey there.
And Joe knows it.
Oops. Oh, sorry.
He's coming over here.
Hello, ladies. Uh-oh. Hi, guys. Oh, guys, come on. Oh, it's not funny.
Lee Sport Apparel, available at Imperial Sports.
The coming of age of the adolescent grizzly bear. A strange rite of passage where they cry out for their most primal, urgent need.
Heaven help us if they ever learn the Macarena.
Pepsi, Generation Next.
We know what we have to do this season. We know we have to take it game by game, come out and play hard just like we did today. And I think next week you'll see the same from this Michigan defense and from the offense. How about that offense today? I mean, it don't get any better than that. Those guys played one heck of a game.
Charles Woodson talking about the victory over Colorado, but that's just step one in the climb up the mountain. Step two is Baylor, and this is a team. This is a team that can be trouble. I mean, you look at games around the country. Purdue beats Notre Dame.
Jim, you know, we're in that element. I can tell you that Baylor has recruited well the last 2 or 3 years. They have a lot of speed, and they have a new coach, Dave Roberts, who's been at Purdue or at Notre Dame the past 5 years as the offensive coordinator, and he likes to throw the football.
There's Jeff Watson, their quarterback, who has got some skilled people he can throw it to. As we take a look at the Pepsi scouting report, their big gun from the running standpoint out of the backfield is Gerard Douglas, 5'8", 180-pound senior, averaging 4.7 a carry.
Jim, he's a good back. And they also, Anthony Overstreet, this guy, he averages 8.7 yards a crack.
Now, when you get a guy that averages that on the stat sheets, you know, what do you tell your defense? You just say, hey, man, we got to get after him in numbers.
Well, you better be tough up the middle, I'll tell you that, when you have a fullback that can gain that kind of yards.
Their best defender, Charles Foster, defensive end, he's just a sophomore. And then Clarence Cruz, the linebacker, again, great speed at the defensive linebacker and secondary core here at Baylor. You know, they've had struggle. They're 1-1 on the year. They did not play this past weekend. But you've got to worry a little bit about speed in their secondary and speed at linebacker.
Well, Jim, you know, Texas is a great state for high school football, and Baylor has recruited well. I think the truth is Dave has gone in there, and it's taken him some time to find out what pieces fit where. But he's a good football coach, and they'll have a good program, and they're going to bring a good team in here Saturday.
You know, your job really is to focus on Baylor and not kind of ride too high after what you're going to get in the media after beating Colorado, aren't you? You're going to have to let the kids know, hey, guys, you know, it's just step one, and we got to keep this focus week in, week out.
Jim, we've talked about that from the first day. We can't listen to all the things that go on, good or bad. What we have to do is take care of today and get ready for this week.
Are they buying it? I mean, you're selling
well,
that. They've got to buy it.
They have to, because we have proof of what happens when you don't. And when you look by anybody in this day and age in football, you're going to get surprised. And we don't want any surprises. We've had some, and they don't taste very good.
That's a fact. Why don't you come back and join us next week and see if there is a surprise in store for Michigan or not. It'll be Michigan versus Baylor next week right here on Michigan Replay. Michigan Replay has been brought to you by the Pepsi-Cola Company, who reminds you that nothing else is a Pepsi. By Northwest Airlines, some people just know how to fly. And by Lee Sport and Imperial Sport. We can make you look cool, but you've got to do the rest.
A.M., Taylor, Michigan. The Waltz